Hey guys, what's going on? Texas fan and rehab here. Always still repping for H Town. Had to take it old school with the 2017 Super Bowl hoodie from back when it was the H Town here. You know, um, big day, man. Big weekend, man. Big week as it is. Checking in with you guys again. Finally got my cut, man. I had to represent a little bit different than last week. That's why I had to rock the cap last week. But anyway, man, off the top, let's just start right into it. Number one, it's a big weekend. I know you saw the game. Game was big, of course. Um, hey, man, let's just off the top. Rihanna's pregnant. Baby number two on the way. ASAP shooting up the club. Shout out to ASAP Rocky, man. But no, congrats to Rihanna and ASAP. But no, that was just merely the halftime performance and the halftime buzz, but congrats to them. Now the big news was this was the Kels Bowl, uh, rather the Super Bowl with the Kelsey twins in it. They had to do their thing, and shout out to them, man. They represented. I mean, it was a great game, 38-35 in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs. Hey, man, you couldn't ask for a better matchup. As in, you got the best two teams in the league battling out on the field, a slippery ass field, but nonetheless, it was a really good, well fought game. Can't even lie to you, man. Your boy made a little bit of money. I got it on the reverse on the square. I had one square and it paid off. That's all you need, man. Just one square. It's just like getting drafted. You only need one team. So the outcome was what it was. I got a little bit of dough that came away with. I'm not mad. I'm mad with it at all. The outcome was beneficial for me. So let's get right into it, though, man. If you saw the game, you saw a very high intensity, well fought, uh, great competition. Thankfully, nobody really got injured or anything of significance to take anybody out because, Lord knows, man, you don't want to see one of these games that just turned out like 2 weeks ago when we saw Brock Purdy go down with the UCL, man. It's not enjoyable to watch. It just almost feels like we were just shorted on the, we got the short end of the stick on what could have been a great game and a great matchup for that particular matchup. I mean, Eagles still won, so I don't want to slight them at any. It's not their fault or whatever, but I don't want to slight them at all. But you know, think of what could have been had there been a different type of matchup, different styles or whatever. I mean, hell, 49ers were already on their backup quarterback or whatever, and then to lose the fourth quarterback after Purdy went down. I mean, it just wasn't in the cards for him. So it is what it is. But that was old news. But to just be able to sit here and watch a game where you had two black quarterbacks battling it out on the field, representing, I'm just saying, I'm a black guy. I'm sure you can see that. So, I have to take it a certain type of way. But, thankfully, we can get that narrative past us now, and we can say that we can see that the quarterbacks can make it to elite spaces in this game. And I think that, moving forward, change the trajectory for what we can have. I know that we see definitely more black quarterbacks in the league now than what we've ever seen before. And, I'll just look forward to the game, improving and increasing and keep going. So, what turns next from this is probably going to be more coaching opportunities. I definitely look forward to seeing more coaches have more opportunities within the game and be able to do things. I think that there are plenty of players that have had the opportunity to become coaches and they just, haven't had the chance to get it to shine. So, you definitely see players that are, ex-college quarterbacks or ex-college players that didn't, it didn't shake out for them in the league, and then here they are coaching now. But to see some of these guys that are actually quality players that get an opportunity to come back and coach, that's really what I'm looking forward to seeing. And of course, we got that right here in H Town with D'Amico Ryan. So, getting to the Texans a little bit, we'll maybe touch on the game again here in a second. But getting to the Texans, of course, I got to make this Texan centric. Um, big week, big week. I mean, D'Amico Ryan's has had to try to fill out his coaching staff. He went and pulled back from the 49ers a little bit by pulling in one of the coaches that he had over there, Bobby Slowick, who he pulled back from the 49ers. So Bobby Slowick's good quality coach. He's gonna have him to come in and be his offensive coordinator. I think that's real key because you don't really want to get away from the game plan as a first year head coach. You don't really want to get away from the game plan that you're somewhat familiar with. So if Bobby can come in and have at least a semblance of what they got over there with the 49ers, um, hey man, that might be a good start for us. So, build around a solid nucleus. We got a few guys. We just need to get more representation for filling out the roster with quality players. Hopefully, a lot of new guys since we got so many draft picks this year. Maybe we can do a couple things on free agency market. Who knows, man? I mean, the sky's the limit at this point. I mean, we got nowhere to go but up, thankfully. So, outside of Bobby Slowick, I mean, another key hire that they had this week was Gerard Johnson. So, Gerard Johnson, former Texas A&M quarterback, coming back to the H, man. I mean, I've heard him on the radio here so many times, Sports Radio 610, where the guys is out there representing hard for the quarterbacks in general. This is a guy that has started by being a quarterback coach on assignment, I guess you could say, on contract, working with guys in the off season or whatnot, and has built his reputation the hard way, man, and to the point where now, even when he had his core group of guys that he was working with on all different levels, his backup guy that he turned that group of clientele over to, that guy now works with, he's reputable, and he works with guys like Shador Sanders in Colorado, or back when he was at Jackson State or whatnot, as their quarterback coach. So, he's kind of built a good reputation for himself. He's made his way into the league. He's leaving the Viking squad now. So the Vikings are going to lose a guy that's definitely making his way up in the coaching ranks. I think he's got an opportunity to become, the sky's the limit for this guy, man. I mean, so I'm happy to see him come to the H. I'm happy to see him representing as a coach for our team. I look forward to see what he can do in the quarterback room. I don't know what quarterback he's going to be tending to, but I know I feel pretty comfortable that we can trust and believe that Gerard is going to get the job done with these guys. So we also had another former quarterback that came in and interviewed for the OC job, Mr. Cliff Kingsbury, who took his way off of vacation to come in and come sit with the Texans for a cup of coffee and try to see if he could woo the coaching staff or woo D'Amico Ryans and become a coach on his staff. But it didn't work out. My opinion about that is just basically that I think that Cliff has, it's hard for me to say, I don't want to say that Cliff is a bad coach. I don't think that he's a bad coach. I think that Cliff has probably been leveraging his reputation to the max of what he can get for that. The reason why I say that is because he's kind of advanced himself up the ranks pretty quickly, and if you can remember what he did when he came in into the league, he really left an assignment that was supposed to go to USC and ended up with the Cardinals, and it was just kind of like that was a quick little jump, being that he just went from one job to the next and was able to kind of make that move where a lot of coaches really got to struggle and climb their way out the mud to get there so quickly. So yeah, that was a little bit of a weird one for me. However, I will commend him because he does have a reputation. Of course, he went to Texas Tech, did his thing out there. But for everything that they've always said about like Texas Tech quarterbacks, they are good at padding stats and putting up numbers in the college game, and then it doesn't work out in the pro game. Hey, but here's Pat Mahomes, right? Pat Mahomes, MVP. I mean, this he's already gonna be a legend, man. It's just amazing how he's come out of that same legacy where same thing, people saying that he couldn't do this, couldn't do that, and he's out here just showing and proving. So once again, congrats to Pat Mahomes and Kansas City Chiefs on winning another Super Bowl, and I look forward to the day when I can be congratulating the Texans on the same thing. Let's see. Outside of that, I've heard that there's scuttlebutt that there's another Kubiak that might get a chance to be in the coaches room. So I've been hearing that Clint Kubiak could be working out as a running game coordinator for the Texans, and so I think that would be pretty dope because one of the things that I look forward to or that I look fondly on from Gary Kubiak wasn't just his coaching tree, but I really respected Gary Kubiak as an OC more than I did as a head coach. I mean, he was kind of over his head with what he was tasked to do here with Houston. I think that he had the talent. I think he definitely had the talent on offense, but I think that Kubiak was probably too loyal to a lot of these guys in the coaching staff. Definitely too loyal to Frank Bush, but that's a whole nother story. I thought I'd never bring up Frank Bush before in my rants, but Kubiak had a stellar offense, man. Like one of the things that I really enjoyed about watching his offense was how synchronized it was as far as uh, the way he used to do his play action, and he used to have things set up through the offense for his wide receivers and tight ends that every passing play or every play action play had levels to it. And I really felt like Kubiak's offense would have been better served if he had a quarterback that was a little bit more mobile than say a Matt Schaub and could get things done down the field with a stronger arm. I think that with the guys that have been coming out of the draft the last few years, you've seen a lot more guys that are more mobile, definitely have bigger arms. Kind of iffy on the accuracy at times, but the defenses, those guys get paid real good too, so they got to do their part. But if Clint Kubiak can bring in the running aspect of it, because if you remember, the running game here in Houston used to thrive off of having smaller offensive linemen so that they could work in those zones and kind of just get people to just move as they needed to move, open up bigger holes for the cutback lanes for the running backs. And you had certain running backs like Arian Foster, man, they excelled in that type of scheme. So I hope that we can maybe see a little semblance of a little Arian Foster here and there. Damian Pierce definitely has an opportunity to shine and do some things big time. Hey man, all we got to do is put him in the right system. So let's see how this goes, man. But yeah, man, outside of those guys, I don't know what's in store for the Texans moving forward this week. I'm gonna, of course, be watching and keeping on top of that. I've been watching a lot of videos this week about the Texans and just kind of replaying the D'Amico Ryans bringing him into the fold with the organization, getting him acclimated to, what the office is, and being in the building and all of those things. And one of the dopest things that I could ever see is how many guys came back to just support him. How many guys that were, whether they were Texans ambassadors, it's a whole nother story, but just guys that were from the '06 draft with him. I remember seeing Cushion and Travis Johnson, Trap J, and Andre Johnson. I mean, Andre Johnson, of course, the legend, man. Like, these guys that, they wanted to be front and center to see with their own two eyes this brother get across the stage and do his thing. And, even some of the players were there, man. And, I remember seeing one clip where they were like, the players were sitting there and they was listening to him talk. And as they were listening to him talk, they kind of sat up or whatever. And it was like, yeah. Some of the vets was like, yeah, that's what you got on your hands right there. You got a man's man. You got a man that's going to lead you and get you to the other side. So I really, man, like, I'm pumped about this season, man. Like, I haven't been in a long time, at least more than the last 2 years. Just telling you, man, like, the Texans have owed this to their fans. I pray that they just, really put forth the effort to try to build from here and make sure that we get, a worthwhile team out of this experience because, man, cat like D'Amico Ryans, man, you don't get them type of cats very many times. And, this franchise has the blessing to be able to get them twice. You know what I'm saying? So I hope they don't screw that up, man. I look forward to seeing what's going to happen for the rest of the season, man. And I'll keep you guys updated as we go, man. Of course, I'm excited about how the Super Bowl one worked out. Got a little payola out of that. Halftime show was amazing. Like I said, man, Rihanna did her thing. You know, got to keep you guys updated on what's going forward, man. So I'll check back in next week, man. Texas fan and rehab. Let's do it for the H.